Hi Shane, welcome to the show. Nice to see you. We'll just give them about another 10 minutes or so before we get to the show portal.
Yes.
This is the first time Shane is joining us, isn't it?
Yes, I just met Shane yesterday at the CLS 22nd anniversary. And I was just telling Shane that
Yeah.
we are like producing 3 different channels. Singapore Confession,
Yes.
that's our talk, the pre-recorded talk show. We can do podcasts and then we'll set something in motion. And then there's True Crime Coffee Talk, our Friday night live. And we have the lifestyle channel called The Living Room, where we will start to launch in October, November.
I saw Shane's show on YouTube. You interviewed one of my favorite person, MJ. I enjoyed that episode. Yeah, MJ is a very nice
My
person.
friends
I love her.
say that they are not receiving the notification on Facebook.
Yeah, I didn't receive as well. I reposted
Yeah.
in the group just now.
Oh no. See, technical issue. Always lah, always lah. When we come in early for sound check,
It's
everything
okay.
is
We give them a
okay.
few. We give them some more time. We give them some more time. You know, later they can join in. They can join in. So just wait.
We're looking forward to discuss more collaboration with Shane, because I think Shane is as savage as we are. I was telling him about the topics that I want to roll out for Singapore Confession. And he was like, "Oh my goodness!" I think,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think we sync to be the mouthpiece of Singapore. Like we are the Singapore heartbeat. We're gonna monopolize this word. How are they cannot see the link to come in.
Shane also interviewed Kumar. I used to party with Kumar quite a lot back in the party days. Almost every Monday, I would see him at Hard Rock Cafe. One of the nicest person in the entertainment business.
Nice. That's out here. Wait, I'm trying to share
Okay, there are
the.
more people coming in already. You share the link to. Hello, Cynthia. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Cynthia.
Yes, I did. That's how I got him on. My sister is his friend from way back then. Ah, Kumar is a very nice person. Really, really
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I met Kumar a few times as well. We used to party before. Last time was before Rupee Room. There was another Bollywood club.
Mm.
I cannot remember.
Usually,
Yeah.
after he finished his gigs, right, then he will go to like Clarke Quay, and then he will party.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
once he was, yeah,
Yeah. Then I hang with
but it's very
the
nice. Sometimes
Bangra.
he will come with, yeah, he
Yeah.
will come with Irene Ang, the whole gym bang.
And yeah, boom boom room. Yeah, yeah, that's his stand up there.
Ayo, Buburu, so long
Yeah,
ago.
correct. And then he will
That
come
was
with
so long ago.
he will come with the Bangra boys. I used to hang out a lot with them from the Kausa Club one. They play the, you know, Bollywood.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a time check. Time check is 9:07. Okay, we still have about another 3 more minutes. Let's wait for 3 more minutes
I know. I
to
love
have more
Rupee
people
Room
coming in.
as well. I cannot believe, like, I think after Rupee Room it became Maziga or something. Maybe we know the same friends. Right, Shane. I think we know the same friends. All the Desi boys and the yeah. We should talk. We should talk. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi,
Okay.
if you just joined the show, say hi so that we know who you are.
Hmm.
Singapore very small, yes,
Very
very small.
small. Very small. I have like 50 gil in my handphone. No. Okay.
Okay, there are more people coming in already.
So,
Hi, everybody. If you
yeah.
just joined the show, maybe you can say hi so that we know who you are.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for joining us tonight on Friday Night Live True Crime Coffee Talk with Serene and Grace. Okay. So,
Let me post to my neighbors.
so today we are covering two stories: the 1984 Curry murder and the McNair Road Headless body. Right. So there's some similarities between these two cases that we'll address later. So trying to dissect layer by layer what happened leads to different sort of um, psychological aspect in this.
Okay, I think it's about time. Without further ado, shall we just go ahead and start already because it's almost
Let's
9:10
go.
in the evening.
Yeah, let's go.
Right. So just now we mentioned that there will be two stories that we are covering today. They are pretty similar because they talk about dismemberment after they murder someone. And there is some difference between story number one and story number two. Uh, First story, we're going to talk about the McNair Road murder. So, Wilfred, maybe you just play the voiceover video first for us, then we can dissect the story later. On 12 December 2013, a woman's decapitated body was discovered in the Whampoa River at McNair Road. Her body, which was missing its head and hands, was wrapped in black trash bags. Jasminta Ko, 33, was killed and dismembered by her husband, 35-year-old Harvinder Singh. Harvinder was upset that his wife was making a long-distance call and suspected she could be talking to another man on the phone. When she hung up on the call to India as he approached her, they started quarreling. During the fight, he punched her on the neck and she fell onto the bed, unconscious. When Harvinder came back to check on Jasvinda, she was dead. To cover up her death, he dismembered her and placed the body in a bag. He sought the help of Gusharan Singh, 27, to dispose of her remains. The latter claimed he did not know that he was helping to get rid of a corpse. Midway while they carried the heavy bag, Gusharan felt the shape of a human body and demanded to know its contents. Harvinder told his version of what had happened that morning. After they disposed of the body, Harvinder left for Malaysia and is still at large. He has been placed on Interpol's wanted list. Despite police combing through 3 tons of rubbish at Tuas incinerator and the surrounding area, Jasvinder's head and hands remain missing. Whoa! So that's the story. There's a story about the Kallang murder at McNair Road. How many of you have heard this case before? I think it's quite bizarre also, because the guy is never caught. Yeah?
Yeah, his accomplice was implicated in the whole saga, but the main killer himself, the husband, Harvinder, can just go away scot-free even until now. Right. And then her head
Mm.
and her hands cannot be found as well. So got me
Mm.
thinking, I'm like, okay, so after he disposed the body, he went straight to Woodlands and crossed the checkpoint. So obviously he couldn't bring the head
Mm.
and the hands with him. So he must have left it somewhere,
Mm.
disposed somewhere, and it's not in the canal. It's not in any of
Mm.
the rubbish bins around the area. They even sift
Mm.
through 5 tons of rubbish at the Tuas incinerator plant. Still no head and no
Mm.
hands, unlike Liu Hong Mei. So when Liu Hong Mei's body parts were thrown in the river and all, when they went to the plant, they still
Yeah.
managed to retrieve them back, right? But for
Mm.
Jasvinder, her head and hands are still not found. So what kind of pervert
Yes.
morbid
If I'm not
negligence?
wrong, what do you call him? Inspector or detective? The person who handled the case
The detective.
was the same person who handled Liu Hongmei's case. That's why when he saw the second dismemberment happen again, his instinct was, oh, okay, let's do the same and let's extend the search, just like how we found Liu Hongmei's part of her remains. So when I look at this story, it seems like this guy Harvinder has a very strong jealousy in him with his wife, because he suspected that the wife is making a phone call to a boyfriend in India. But of course, this story was told by him to what's the name, Gusharan, who helped him to dispose the body, who I feel is very innocent, because he genuinely wanted to help him, because they are very good friends, and they only have like a few friends in Singapore, and they are always like talking to each other. So he willingly really wanted to help him to move house without knowing what is inside the suitcase, until the wheel broke, then they had to carry it over the shoulder, and then he felt something, when he carried it, he felt like it is a body inside. Then he asked him, hey, what is this? What's inside this suitcase? Then he told him the story, like, oh, I had a fight with her because I think she was calling someone in India, a man, then I asked her and then she denied. Then I punched her and then she fell to the bed. I went out. I came back home and then she was dead. So how did that punch kill a person? I think even the autopsy wouldn't be able to find out, because he cut off the head, you know. According to the report, there are other visible bruises on her body. Maybe, I suppose it's not just one punch lah. I feel he probably have been like beating her up. I don't know. He probably even have like a trait of like domestic abuse, because he's always suspecting her, and that could lead to killing of his wife. What do you think?
So he wanted to move to Singapore, right? So he came to Singapore in February, and Jasvinder came in September. So probably the
Yeah.
time lapse between them. In India, she had an alternate life, right? So when she came to Singapore to stay with him, maybe she still had ties with whoever she had in India, because I think he didn't randomly or suddenly suspect her. He saw that her phone credit is always depleting. Like when she top up, it will deplete and all. So he was like, "Why are you making so many phone calls to India?" That's when he realized that she was talking on the phone. He came into the room, and that's when he questioned her. And immediately she cut the call. When she cut the call, she said, "No, I was
Yes.
listening to music." So it's a very big difference, right? Listening to music and cutting the call. So I think he caught her lie. And that's when he got angry with her, and then he punched her and all. So the other injuries on her, the external cuts on her thigh and the other parts of her body were all post-mortem. They were not inflicted on her during their fight or before he dismembered her, right? So I think the punch probably hit uh okay, the throat is very sensitive, right? Like the jugular and all. But I also think that he needs to uh because this is the jugular, like this vein is the one that they say that you can bleed out in 5 minutes if you cut it, right? So if he did he punch with a sharp ring or something that he puncture the vein, the main vein? Because I think one punch would probably knock her out, you know I don't think it would kill her. So Gusharan claimed that Harvinder cut off her head and her hands is because he doesn't want the police to identify the wife's body so quickly, because he needed time to escape to
Yeah.
Malaysia and probably further up where he's maybe in India right now, right? Because Interpol has been looking for him.
Mm.
Yeah, so he removed the head and hands. I think it's just for identification purpose. But why did the punch kill her? I mean, it's not like he's Bruce Lee, right? The one punch kill kind of thing. So these are the things that even the
I
police cannot explain, right? I mean, I went through all the research and all.
I suppose he didn't tell the full story to his friend at that moment when he wanted to get rid of the body. Of course, I don't know, probably guilty conscious. He just want to hide certain details. He probably have strangled her, or he probably have done other things like hit her on the head, maybe the head injured or something, with a blunt object or something. Because the thing is, he was never caught, so there was no statement from him, nothing. We can't get an answer because it's just a cold case, right? But all we can identify, yes, he was the last one with her, and he admitted to his friend that he killed his wife, although he said accidentally. But I somehow rather don't feel that it was an accident that easily done with just one punch. I think it's more than just one punch. I don't know if he strangled her, then cut away the neck, also cannot see already, or he have suffocated her with a pillow, you know.
Because this is the
It's just very
one-sided
bizarre.
account. Yeah, it's a
Yes,
one-sided
very
account that he
one-sided.
told
It's all from the
Gusharan, right? So
correct.
two things, because the real killer is not there to validate what Gusharan said, right? So Gusharan maybe
Mm,
know a little bit more, but he doesn't want to be implicated. Because the more you know, the more the police question you, the more the police was like, so it's so either two things, right? He's either like Gusharan, okay, what if Harbinder confessed to Gusharan that it was premeditated? Because it's all a one-sided story anyways. What Gusharan can also say that, oh, I have no idea what is this and all. So if it was premeditated, then it means
mm,
that he could have killed her in using other methods to kill her. He could strangle her or suffocate her and stuff, right? Maybe he planned beforehand.
mm.
Yeah. So if it was a sudden and random attack, Gusharan will be like, I have no idea, so I will not get a bad sentencing. But it was premeditated. I think his implication will be way heavier than the sentence he served. Because no
But
one is
anyway,
there
he
to
wasn't the
justify.
one who. Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, according to him, lah, right? He doesn't know what was going on, and then there are eyewitnesses that saw that he was being scolded by Harbinder after they disposed the body, or something like that. They were having an argument. It doesn't really point to the direction whereby um, he know what was going on until that night itself. So I feel he, as a friend, he did what he can to help to dispose. Because he already halfway already, right? You already carry the luggage all the way. We are almost reaching the place where you want to dispose of across the bridge already. So even if you back out, you're already part of the accomplice. So he just, okay lah, I'll just finish off everything. Then in a daze, he went back to the temple that he woke in, and hope that it will blow over. But of course it didn't lah. There's so many CCTV captured them pushing the luggage from Balestier all the way to McNair, to where they disposed the suitcase. The only one thing I can take from this is I think Singapore is have a very good system with all the CCTVs around. If you have done anything stupid, honestly, you can be found very easily. It's not like it can be hidden. And these two dudes, instead of discreetly dispose the body, they were along the main road. Two men pushing a luggage. Who won't look at you? It's just very stuck whereby uh I don't know. Maybe at that time they cannot think straight. He cannot think straight anymore already. In his head, he's like, I want to get rid of her. I'll get out of Singapore. I go back to India and nobody can find me. That is his mind. In his mind, that's what he was thinking. Back his friend, please help me and please don't tell anybody. Don't say anything. Then in the end, his friend got to pay, the dues lah, like go to jail on his behalf, even though when he didn't kill anybody, but he disposed of the body and he didn't report to the police. On that part, he have to pay for it.
But I also think that there could be some loopholes in Gusharan's story as well. Okay. Gusharan probably know more than he confessed to the police. Yet, after they disposed the body, when the bag is no longer with them, they had a fight. An eyewitness saw them fighting, right? So it's either Gusharan is so angry after being implicated, that he lashed out at Harbinder, or if not,
Yeah.
maybe Harbinder promised him something he couldn't fulfill as well, and then Gusharan had to bargain his way out of it now. Because this is a serious crime, right? I mean, you are a foreigner, you are in Singapore, and then you know that Singapore doesn't take murder cases or any crime for that matter lightly. But if you ask for my personal opinion, I think that Gusharan knows a little bit more, but he's not letting it in. He cannot say
Perhaps.
more than he could. His lawyer could have advised him like, oh, okay, if you this is so much that the police know, because no murder weapon was found, right? The head and the hands was also missing. It's just the corpse and the torso, and even the murderer is at large. There is very little validation for the whole story. If you ask me, I think the story will be more composed by the scenario more than the truth. You see, so the lawyer might be like, okay, so you got an advantage, right? Because no murder weapon, no this, no that, no this, no that, and then this secret is only between the two of you. There are no other people involved in this case, because the more people involved, I think the more complicated it will be as well. So they're lucky this is between the both of them. So the lawyer will be like, okay, so I can advise you, if you say this, then you'll be charged with that. You will say that, you'll be charged with that. The murderer is out. Is he? He's you. Even you commit perjury and all, they cannot find him to validate it. What?
But I
The
think in
defense
Singapore, the
lawyer.
statement is being done it's been done in the police station when the police take statement, right, before the lawyer speaks to them. So the statement itself will hold its weight in court. The defense lawyer can only defend based on the statement and the
No,
findings, but cannot coerce. Cannot coerce them to make a false statement.
but he can have a
Not in
lawyer
Singapore.
present when he's taking his statement, right? He can. Maybe he didn't say
You
anything at all, and
Usually when the police take you into custody, they will take a couple of statements from you lah. Okay, then from that statement, then after that they gotten what they need and they do the investigation, then they will like assign you whether you need a defense lawyer or not. I think that's the reason why previously Subhas was very anti this custody to take statement before a lawyer can be administered to a criminal. He has been fighting that that the criminal is able to have a lawyer to represent them when they are in custody, but I think in Singapore it doesn't work that way.
maybe
So
he would have given a
yeah, the lawyer cannot coerce.
Yeah, okay, but the lawyer can advise though. So we also don't know what happened in the investigation room, right? So he was brought in, and someone he least expected it. He was having lunch at Sims Avenue, and then they randomly caught him. I think he was also caught off guard. So they brought him to the station. They say, "Oh, we're going to take some statement. Tell us what you know." Okay, and that point of time, right?
Correct.
Because the impact of the murder just happened a while back only, so a lot is going on in his
Yeah.
head. Like he probably is confused, and also he's alone. He doesn't have anyone else to like share this woe with. What, right? So he maybe he told the police something, and then they have to assign him a lawyer. Then the lawyer will run through like what your charges will be like and how much you can say and all, because over here there is like no report that, oh, in the first place he changed his, okay, like he gave a sentence and then he changed it. There was no changing of sentence. Like, not like, oh, I say this already, then, oh, sorry, my memory failed me, and then I want to retake my statement. There's nothing like that, ma. Yeah, so he maybe he's
No,
also
but they can
careful
they
at
can
how
change their words in court lah.
yeah, they can, yeah, but over here like there's nothing
In court they
redacted.
can.
Yeah, means he never redact any statement that he gave the police in the first place as well. But the fight between them that happened after they disposed the body, that's very shady. What were they fighting about? Were they fighting about like Gusharan felt exploited, or did he feel like did he feel guilt and shame, or was he angry that Harvinder suddenly wants to go and leave him alone? Because Gusharan said that when Harvinder disposed the body, he said, "I'm leaving for Malaysia," and then he gave Gusharan one more phone call, and then he never came back. So the fight
Yeah.
maybe was conjured because the agreement was broken or something. But it could have also been a post agreement that was broken, and not like something that they have come up in between them in the first place as well. But the sad thing is that,
I think
he's not even in like you cannot even find the murderer. So everything, they can only like, sentence him and then just live with the verdict like that. If I was Jasvinder, I will feel a little bit like, I 我会有怨气的啦。
哎呦，我
No head, no hand.
我端端死掉哎。
Yeah, no head, no hand. Wow.
I don't know, but I think sometimes when you have this kind of, I don't know, whether they have any history of domestic abuse or not, is unknown of lah. But she was working, she had a job, she was working I think she was working in Little India at one of the salon. I can't remember what she did. Is it for nails or for hair? She was working, then she suddenly just didn't come back to work, and she's young. She's not like she's very old. And they probably have a history of like argument or domestic abuse that lead to that. And also we also know that they are often arranged marriage. So arranged marriage, maybe you don't have that bond as strong as if, let's say, you have been dating for like years, you know each other very well. So there might be some dispute lah. You come to Singapore, then your family is not here ma. The whole time you only see this man that you married, and maybe there's some arguments here and there. So even if it's a very innocent phone call, she might be calling her family because she miss home, right? She might be calling her mom or dad or her friends, but he probably suspected otherwise and said that, oh, she must be calling a man. The jealousy acted up upon that. I think just now in the audience somebody said it could be a planned murder. Okay. So, okay, we are still live, but you need to refresh. Yes, yeah, still live. So yeah, so Sam said that good chance it was well planned out murder case. Okay, but even if it's a well planned out murder case, but why murder when you know that there's no way to hide it? And not like murder, then after that you can get money out of it or anything. It's just purely out of jealousy, and I don't know lah. I would take the according to I think I would take according to what it was being said in the statement, that it's probably an accidental death. Maybe they fought and then there was an accidental death during the fight. That is more believable lah, I feel. That's why he was very, according to his friend, he was very flustered and very very worried and really want to hurry up, get rid of the body and quickly leave the country. Yeah, I think it's jealousy. You mentioned something. I think okay, I'm not going to go to that route, but yes, it could be jealousy, and yeah, probably got carried away. Okay, we're waiting for Serene to come back in a minute. Okay, she's coming back. So from here we can actually see that it's probably crime of passion. He got angry, he got jealous, then he accidentally killed her, then he had no choice but to dispose her of. Yeah. Okay, Serene is coming back. Let's give her a few seconds.
Yeah, thanks for standing in for me, Grace. I have no idea what happened. Okay. Always like that, Okay, guys, I always say this whenever I do live. Okay, when I do broadcast for Crime Library Singapore. Okay, first, happy 22nd anniversary Crime Library Singapore. Congrats, Joseph, and thank you for an amazing event yesterday. Okay, because without you, I wouldn't have thought of doing this coffee talk as well. So thank you for the support, and thank you for all the information that you have furnished us in the past, and bringing me to McNair Road so that we can plan the crime scene tour. So thank you, Joseph. Thank you. This is your credit too. So whenever I do broadcast for Crime Library Singapore, me and the girls Angie or Joanna and all, when we start the broadcast, everything is okay. Then either it starts to rain, Random rain, very heavy rain. If not a technology problem, it's either we cannot go online or our broadcast got cut halfway. If not, the phone drop lah, the tripod cannot work lah. Always got problem, Yeah. So last week also, right? Suddenly Grace also ilang, and then something happened. I don't know lah. I think I think it's the case curse.
I think
I'm going to
OBS is just not stable lah.
or the case curse lah. Yeah.
OBS is just not stable.
So why got transmission problem? Like something blocked. I don't know. Anyways, yes, I'm back. Okay, so I couldn't
Yeah,
hear
so
what
Sam
Grace was
said
saying.
that when there's so much emotion, Sam said that when there's so much emotion involved, right, a person can't really think properly. Actually, it's true, right? Because looking at so many other different cases, which is linked to crime of passion, right, it's always an act of impulse. They were angry. They have so much anger in them, or even jealousy that drive. They just want to kill the person that they love so much, right? Suddenly become a person that totally hate and cannot stand anymore. I think this one, if he say he punched her and then she died, yeah, she actually died quite peacefully, as compared to some other cases that we have seen. They got multiple stabs, slash, or the, this one is
Like our
actually,
next
I
case,
feel,
when
like
he
what
got
we
bludgeoned to death.
we discussed earlier just now, that it is something that, probably an act out of jealousy at the heat of the moment. Yeah, and not really a well thought out plan. The only sad thing is, this fella was never caught. Even the Interpol is after him right now, but he was never caught. India is very big.
So this is
It's
considered.
quite hard to catch him.
So this is considered a crime of passion, right? So like the police also said that like crime of passion. So what is crime of passion? So crime of passion refers to a violent crime, especially homicide, right? So which the perpetrator commits the crime and the act against someone because of a sudden strong impulse, such as anger, rather than premeditated. But he's not even around for the police to investigate and take his statement, to catch him in a lie. Even there's no lie detector, there is nothing. He's just a ghost. He's a phantom guy who killed someone, and the account was based on Gusharan, right? So in general, if you look at it on the surface, it's a crime of passion. What, he's angry that his wife might be speaking to another man, because there's a mysterious caller at the other line, right? But crime of passion has to also be out of impulse that he wants to kill her and not premeditated. So it breaks down into three different parts as well, right? It's either like maybe he know about it for a very long time, because he was here in February, she came in September, and they maybe he has a lot, he heard, like, rumors and all from his hometown, and then he was like, well, I shouldn't believe that, anything could have transpired between them, right? Grace, I cannot hear you. Sorry. Grace, there's no volume. Sorry. Someone is trying to silence us. No, Grace. Grace. It's here. I tell you. So the true crime curse. This is the case curse, I swear to God. So I'll wait for Grace. So while Grace is gone, now I see. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So either it is like something wants to raise awareness, or maybe we are supposed to be silent about it. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, crime or passion, right? Yeah. Yeah. So crime or passion and also anger management. Yeah. So we can touch a little bit on what is family violence lah. So we want to raise a bit of awareness on domestic abuse, right? Like some women, maybe they have gone through that, but they still want to they have to keep quiet because it involves the entire quality of life, that they have to uphold, right? So I read this from the aware side. Okay. So family violence is like causing hurt to family member by an act where one partner will be hurt, and they will cause like they result in hurt. Then there
I
is
think
a psychological
the
and
domestic violence
emotional
also,
abuse.
yeah, it will come in different forms, like, besides physical, there's
Yeah.
also emotional abuse, financial
Correct.
abuse, mentally abuse. So all this, when a person cannot take it, and it turns abusive, right? It can turn the other person to become from a non-violent person to a violent person. You know,
Yeah. Sometimes I
that
think
kind of
that
anger is something that,
psychological.
right? That kind of anger is something that we cannot understand. What happened at that moment? When was there a trigger, a wrong word spoken? Then, or there's a comparison. During the argument now, what I'm trying to say, during the argument, you have a comparison of this person and that person, and then you start to accuse. There's a lot of accusation that would come in, so it will escalate. Then when it escalate until a certain level where it cannot be controlled anymore, then the next thing will be physical already, because what you need to say is all spoken already. What is nasty is all of you already, right? So the next step that can cause a detrimental outcome will have to be something physical. And most of the time when that happens, there's a lot of regrets. And honestly, before I joined TCC to talk about crimes, I haven't realized that in Singapore, there are so many cases. You know, they really go and look into it, right? You'll be quite shocking. Like today,
Yeah.
I read one news. This uncle, he's 85 years old. 85 years old, and then he slashed his wife, who is like at that time was like 72 years old, 54 times, because he wanted her dead. Things
The one
like
is
that.
a crime of passion
I
as
cannot
well.
understand.
Being provoked
Yeah,
and
so it's like
all.
it doesn't matter what age you are. You can say it doesn't matter what age you are. Like even Habida, young, 30 plus, he can do that. An old man at 85, he can also do that. It only tells us that when it comes to communication at home, when it's not done rightly, and then if one party feels that, they are being, I don't know, like disrespected or something, and usually in a normal scenario, the women will nag, then the male will be the one getting angry. If you go and see the cases, the men kill the woman most of the time in crime of passion. Hardly is a woman who go and kill the husband now, which is very evidently. The women usually are the submissive and scared. I don't dare to do anything wrong. I'll just suffer. I'll just suffer. That's the reason why domestic abuse in Singapore. Um, if anybody have any issues, you should go speak to someone. Don't suffer in silence. You should really speak to someone, because mental health is also very important. You cannot be in an environment whereby you are constantly being breathed down, and you can't even fight back. So this whole domestic violence thing will come lead to our next story, because the next story, right, seems like it is about domestic abuse, and that is why a murder happened. Wilfred, you want to play the next video? On 18 December 1984, Nagarata Valley Ramia filed a missing persons report on her husband, Ayakano Marimutu, when he had not returned from a trip to Genting Highlands for almost a week. Police recorded Marimutu as a missing person, as they found no cause for suspicion of foul play. Then on 9 January 1987, a detective was notified by an informer that Marimutu had been murdered, chopped up, and his remains cooked in curry. Supported by the missing persons report, the detective started his investigation, and after 2 months, gathered information on several suspects. On 23 March 1987, the CID conducted an operation and brought a total of 8 suspects back for questioning. They were mostly Marimutu's family members, including his wife. The suspects denied any knowledge of the murder for days, until one of them began to confess the gruesome crime. Marimutu's 3 brothers-in-law brought him to the caretaker's quarters of Orchard Road Presbyterian Church on the afternoon of 12 December 1984. That night, Marimutu was bludgeoned to death with an iron rod in the kitchen. They chopped up his body and cooked the parts with curry powder, rice, and spices in a large aluminium pot. They then placed his remains, including cracked pieces of skull and bones, into black plastic bags and threw them away in roadside rubbish bins. No evidence was recovered by the investigation team. There were no body parts, and they could not find any murder weapons or eyewitnesses who can corroborate the story or claims made by the suspects. By 1991, all the suspects were released unconditionally. Today, they continue to live at large, and the 1984 Curry murder will remain as one of the most bizarre cases in Singapore's history.
This case 可以给 Grace 讲多一点。
Okay, so that's the case of the very famous Curry murder in 1984.
So this case also, everyone was released unconditionally. Everyone involved. Why? No murder weapon, no body, no evidence. Right. So what's the 1984 Curry murder?
Yeah, no evidence.
Yeah, no evidence. Yeah. So 18 December, right, in 1984, Ramia filed the missing person report for her husband, Marimoto. Okay, she said he went to Genting,
Yeah.
and it's been almost a week, and then he hasn't come back. Then no news, not she never hear anything from him and all. Right. So only after 3 years, a detective was notified by an informer that Morimoto was being chopped into pieces and cooked with curry, and his body parts were disposed. And the detective went to check the records and were like, oh, a missing person was really filed in 1984, and then until now also cold case, cannot find him back and all. So he went to investigate deeper. He went to speak to all the people, and he brought in a few suspects and all, right? And even after so much investigation, however he speak to them, they actually, one of the suspect actually told the whole story lah, what they did. They said they bludgeoned him to death when they brought him in, and after that they cut him up and then they disposed of his body. But none of the suspects were being charged. They were released in the end in 1991. So this one is the same. I think we can dissect a little bit about the origin, why it happened, the beginning.
So this Marimutu, right? He was known in the neighborhood that he's someone who likes to drink. He's always drunk, and he has a very bad temper. He gets angry easily, and he lashed out on his wife, beat her up also quite often. It was not unknown of in the neighborhood. Even among his friends, like when he get drunk, he gets angry very easily as well. So, but of course, after that, he will calm down and he will apologize. So what he was working as was a caretaker for the PUB chalet, those chalet houses in Changi, and his family, actually a few of them are doing the same kind of jobs, and then they are also they just live just right behind the Presbyterian Church in Orchard Road. So according to it's bizarre because they killed him, they cooked him already, and then he was filed as a missing person. Then nothing comes up until 2 years later. An informant went to the detective and said, I know this case. Do you know this person who was missing? He's dead. He's murdered. Someone cut him up and cook him into curry. I think this is not so shocking. I mean, to him it's very shocking, but when I read the story now, it's not as shocking. But what the shocking part was, some people actually tasted the curry. They actually ate the meat because they actually serve it in church. Portion of it that was served in the church, and people actually did eat the meat. And when they eat the meat, right, it doesn't taste like chicken or pork or beef, nothing. It just tasted very, very funny. It's like It's a weird taste. Does it taste like some stale meat or spoiled meat? But it's not rotten meat. It's just
Oh my
meat.
god.
So while they were doing the investigation, right, people actually did come up and say, yes, I remember that day. There's a lot of curry being thrown away. And one of them is like working, I think in the street one, sweeper or something. He opened and then he saw curry and it smells so good because it's curry and biryani ma. So he tasted it and then he tasted it tastes weird. So he don't want. So people were coming forward and say, yeah, I actually tasted it. Imagine you tasted human meat. How will you
And
feel?
they were
I
innocent,
don't know.
and they were so innocent. It's not like he cooked for the
They don't know
immediate
anything.
family. He cooked for
Yeah,
the public. It could happen to
it's a big
anyone.
pot.
It could happen to anyone,
Mm.
right? Because you trusted the
I,
cook.
I remember, yeah, I remember when I was a kid during that time, my mom would tell me like, oh, you cannot eat the biryani, maybe it's human inside because of this case. I still remember that. So for the longest time, I never eat biryani.
I'm going to eat biryani later, you know. Oh my
You don't
goodness.
worry, like, it's not
I,
human.
I'm meeting my friends at biryani house in Sengkang later to eat biryani. What was I thinking right? No lah, I'm very sure it's good. Yeah, I'm going to biryani house. It's 24 hours. Yeah, but
Yeah.
oh my goodness. So what do you think? Like, do you think that the one of the suspect who told this story was lying, or it's
During
true
that, okay,
that
back
they
then when they grill cases, right, they grill you, right, the way they interrogate you is very different from the now. We're talking about like close to 40 years ago, right? So they might have more aggressive tactics used to force something out of you because they want to hear a statement. But what is surprising is they are all investigated and take statement individually, right? So out of all the people they caught, four of them admitted the crime and relate how it was carried out. So they say, oh, they brought him there, then he was drunk, so they put him in the room, then they bludgeoned him to death. After that, the whole family just come and cut him and cook him, and then put in bags and distribute to different rubbish bins around the road.
So this
So
one not crime of passion, right? This one is more on like revenge crime, because
I
Marimoto
yeah
sort of had a very bad relationship with the wife and her family, her three
mm,
brothers, her mother, even her sister-in-law. They were upset with
mm,
Marimoto. So this one is I
yes
so the wife, she's helpless, right? She's a woman, so she cannot commit the crime
mm,
on her own. He's a very big man, and maybe she has gone through a lot of violent attacks from him. So, how do we
yeah
classify this? So we classify this under revenge and assault,
mm.
right? Yeah.
I would think so because I mean her family have seen her suffer lah. Of course, then they have three children, and then she's like the meek and very pitiful Indian lady, who is always being scolded or being threatened or being beaten up by a drunk husband. So I guess along the way, somehow or other, I think they wanted to revenge for her, or maybe he have in his drunken stupor, he might have even said something very offensive to the entire family. It will not
He
be
provoked
a
them.
surprise, you see. If he can offend his friends and he can scold his wife in this manner, he will have scolded anybody else when he's drunk, especially. But there's one thing about him is that when he worked, he is really a very responsible man, according to his superior. They say he's a very responsible man. And he actually borrowed some money for the kids' education because the next year they need textbooks, right? So he actually borrowed money for them. The day before he disappeared. So of course during then also there's a lot of different stories that come up from all the accused, right? The prosecutor want to charge them, that's why they bring them to court. But when they bring them to court, because there's a lack of evidence, there's nothing. It's 2 years later. What evidence? Blood also don't have. Everything is gone already. They cannot charge them. But when they were discharged, acquitted from court, right? Immediately they detain them again. For until 1991, they're still trying to charge them. But of course, lack of evidence 就是 lack of evidence 啦 you know they can't do much. They can only detain them until a certain period of time and they have to just let them go free. So the defense lawyer believed in his clients to say that they did not do the deed. They did not kill the person and he went missing and nobody know why. It's
I
just a very
think
bizarre, another very bizarre case.
I think also there is a sort of a convenience in this because right now they got their own quarters, a place they can bring Marimoto to that is not accessible to the public, right? So if they brought him there, they can
Mm,
be. This is a very private space for everyone. So if it was premeditated,
mm,
they would. I mean, it's easier for them to do what they had to do, the acts, without
mm,
involving anyone else, right? So they have a good place to commit the crime. Number one, the place, the venue was good. Secondly, I
mm,
think they know or they discuss beforehand how to dispose the body. And because okay, so one of the suspect, he's a butcher. He cuts mutton, right?
mm.
So they got the
Yes,
person, okay, so venue, they got the person who knows how to dissect bodies, right? The right cut and all. Then number
yes.
three, I think they got the right equipment, which is the big aluminium pot. So they got all three
Mm,
things to commit this murder. And then what else do you need? You got privacy, you got no eyewitness, and everyone is family. So you won't tell on each other. Three brothers, all the wives and mother leh, and then the sister, you
it's like
know.
an
So
organized
who
crime.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
who is going to tell on each other if you are all blood? And Marimoto is not blood, ma.
Mm,
He is the sister's husband who torture and abuse
yeah.
the sister, right? So they got all these factors
Correct.
locked in for them to commit the murder. It was, if you ask me, I think it was a perfect crime because if you so many people go to
Perf-
a,
perfectly organized.
right? If you go to a
Yeah.
you are in an apartment right now with all your neighbors around you, and then you are so many, and then Marimoto, I'm sure he will put up a struggle. What you think he will just sit there and let you kill him? Eh? No, ma. But this is a church where it's quiet and public people. I mean, they don't come in. Right, so after that, if it was in the HDB, he will make noise. Then maybe people call the police in, and then after that, you're going to cook curry in a big aluminium pot in HDB. Unless you got the proper stove and all, I think no law. But the quarters is perfect. I think they chose the place. I think it was premeditated. Maybe he provoked them. Then
Mm,
he triggered the killing. Yeah, because they brought him in. They brought him in the afternoon, but they killed him at night. Right, so many hours of
what they drink,
disparity.
ma? They were drinking.
Correct. Anything could happen.
According
Maybe
to
they
them, they were
wanted to.
drinking. So he was
Yeah.
drunk.
Yeah, so maybe they wanted to give him a
Mm.
chance. They wanted to be like, oh, can you tell me what happened? I think I'm not. I'm offline again. Wait, nah. Wilfred. Why here pause ah?
You're still online.
Oh,
No, you're still online. You're still
really?
there.
Oh, okay,
Eh?
okay. On live, I'm not nah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Everyone is dropping out.
Yes, you are.
I am ah. Oh, then it's my Facebook lah. I don't know lah. Okay, I continue talking. Okay, right.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
sorry guys. Let me redo the whole thing. Okay, so you cannot have a aluminium pot at home, cook so much curry, not have the smell and the mess and the place. Yeah. So it was
Mm.
premeditated. Maybe they brought him in the afternoon to try to sort things out with him, right? And then maybe they got triggered. He got triggered because they bludgeoned him to death.
Mm.
So I think the bludgeon to death
Yeah.
one is a crime of passion because they were angry, ma. It was out of like anger that they do that. But it could have been an organized, well thought of crime that they wanted to do. Therefore, they brought him to that place and already have all the equipments prepared and even curry powder and all the all the everything you need is there already. What? Yeah, I cannot hear Grace. Cannot hear Grace. Yeah. Grace. Okay. Grace dropped out for a little while. So yeah, my takeaway from this is like I think it's something that was a reoccurring sort of event. Yeah. Welcome, welcome. It happens, it happens. This is the thing. See, we spoke two different stories and then two different technical problems. Oh, what can I do?
Yeah, organized crime just now, right, which I think I would lean more towards to this direction based on what they have there, the pots and pans and the rice and even right up to the trash bag and where to dispose the trash bag. Everything is so organized. They already plan it already. So I suppose maybe they just bring him there, then make him drunk, then easier to kill ma. There's no
Yeah,
resistance anymore.
yeah.
As long as he drink, he get drunk, he cannot function anymore. Then they just bring him to one corner, just bludgeon him to death. And also, I think it happened at the Presbyterian church, right? There has usually the church, the kitchen is larger, not like our home kitchen is so small. So they have really a big area for them to do it because they need to usually cater for hundreds of people at one go. So they just had the perfect location because they just live behind the church only.
This is a perfect crime. That is why
I will
on
feel that it is.
that is why only after 3 years and without an informer, this guy will still be on the missing list, what? Right? So if the informer did not come up and say
Yes.
that Marimoto could have been killed by his family members, it will still be a missing person. Maybe he eloped to
Mm.
Genting, never came back, or however deep the investigation go, they still cannot figure out what happened to him if not for the informer. Then when the detective went to do deeper research, then he went to bring the suspect in. So this is really the perfect crime, because there is no body, no weapon, no fingerprints, nothing. That is why they were acquitted. They were released unconditionally. It
Yeah.
means that they cannot be brought back and all anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And also the wife, when she made the report, she said that he went to Genting, right? The week before that, and then supposed to come back, they didn't come back. They went to dig and they realized that he don't have a passport. He have never applied a passport. But there's no way that he can get out of Singapore or go to India. I mean, there are other theory to say, oh, maybe he went to India, he don't want to come back already because he don't like the life here. But no, he don't have a passport, so how is he going to like leave Singapore and don't come back? So that theory was not, not a theory that we can accept, lah, But him missing and possibly dead, yes. But did they do the crime? Because there's no evidence, right? Did they do the crime? Did they really kill him and chop him up and cook into curry? Um, I don't know. Maybe because somebody said they ate the curry, right? But because it happened so long ago, like, can it be verified? Again, we don't have evidence to verify that. There's no blood, no pots, nothing, no body, not even a hair has been found. They really cannot find anything at all. So, yeah, and also the accused, right? When the three of them, when they were acquitted the first time and then they brought back to detention, right? They also, they just keep denying that it's not them. So the defense lawyer also really helped them a lot, lah. It's just that a case from 1984 has been dragged all the way to 1991 before they get back their total freedom.
And if you were Marimoto, if you know that this story, this case is about you, and you're alive out there
Would you come
somewhere,
back?
yeah, I mean, like, why you never come out and speak? Like, you're a celebrity in your own terms, you know that? You will always be known
Why
as
is he
the
hiding? Why?
yeah, you always be known as the 1984 Curry murder guy that left no traces. So if you were out there somewhere,
Mm,
you should come back, what? Unless you really, and then some more, right now your family members, they will not be charged anymore anyways, what? So it's like,
mm.
there's nothing to lose anyway. So I think if he hasn't spoken up, unless he got his own agenda, maybe really.
And then when he was missing, his brother was actually very worried. His brother keep going back to the police station to check for updates, because after his wife made a police report, his wife went to his family to tell them that, he's missing, I can't find him. So the brother was like always waiting for information or update about the brother, until one day he passed by a news stand and then he saw his Marimutu's photo on the front page, a Chinese newspaper. He grabbed the newspaper, and whichever Chinese that he can grab, the first one, excuse me, and asked them, "Tell me, what is this? What happened?" And then the person told him, "This person murdered and cooked into curry." So it's very shocking. His mother also, when his mother heard the news, she couldn't take it, cried, fainted, and all that. So
I think the mother was
I don't know
devastated.
if it's my family member.
Okay.
If it's my family member, cannot take it.
Take a minute. Yeah, drink some water and all. Oh no, I'm out of OBS. I'm out of OBS. I cannot see my face. I need to redo.
Okay. So let's go back to the audience. Audience, do you have any things to add on to this case? If you have heard about this case before, what do you think? Do you think he was really murdered, or do you think he would just went missing? What do you think? Do you think he really become curry biryani, or do you think that the accused were really innocent? They never do anything to him, and he just disappeared. What do you think?
They say vegetarian biryani what? They say vegetarian, but oh sorry, I forgot. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot I can. I forgot y'all cannot hear my tech guy. I go and talk to the air only.
Yeah, so
Okay, Serene will come back in a while. Okay, the OBS. Oh, she's back. Okay. Back already. Oh, right. From just now. I'm sorry. didn't realize that. Yeah. So I'm asking the audience opinion. Do you think that he was really being murdered? Shane said I rule guilty. Oh, okay. You think that they murdered him and cooked him into curry? But there's no evidence. Cannot find any evidence at all, and no further eyewitnesses. It's just the family themselves. Then if I were to think on the defense lawyer's standpoint, and choose to believe his clients, they are innocent in the eyes of the law. This Serene is offline again. I think she's going to sort it out and come back. Okay, she's back. Okay, back. Okay, like the first story I mentioned also. Well, this one is something yeah, like what she said is like it's very sensational, and to believe that it didn't happen is also a bit hard to believe that they're innocent. The drama itself is very believable because of the nature of him being a drunkard all the time and being violent and abusive to his wife. It will not be a surprise, to anybody that say, "Oh, this person, he seems like a very evil person," and the family now take care of.
cannot hear Grace. I think OBS unstable 要 cut 吗？ Yeah, guys, I think there's like some technical problems as usual. So yeah, Grace, can you come in? So I think uh, if there's nothing else, we'll cut short this one. is there anything else you want to add on, Grace? Grace, I cannot hear you. Sorry, guys. I cannot hear you. I know what's going on, but every time we do broadcast lah. Hiya. From TCC to CLS. Grace, I cannot hear you. Yeah. Oh no, I cannot hear. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, guys. It's either me or Grace. Yeah. Maybe we'll. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Grace is back. Mm. Yeah, it's very weird today. Today.
Times already today. Yeah, for
Yeah.
those who just joined in, I'm sorry. I think we are
Yeah.
pretty done with the stories today. I
Because
just
it's
want to
two
have something
story
to
quite
add on to
straightforward.
this one. Yeah, but I want something to add on that just to bring awareness to domestic violence. If you have anybody that you know, or even if it's yourself, your friends, and you know that they are suffering from domestic violence, it is always good to have someone professional to come in to talk to them, because mental health is very important. Now, we don't want anybody to die in such a manner, because it's very devastating. I mean, the person is dead already, right? But it's very devastating for the remaining family members who are still alive to maybe even guilt themselves for not being able to step in and help and prevent this. Yeah. So that's my takeaway from these two cases. It could be prevented. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see
You have
any
anything
red
to add, Serene?
flags, yeah. So if you see any red flags, right? If you feel that you are psychologically or physically abused, you should take action immediately before it snowball into something more violent and something irreversible. Right? You have
Correct.
many places that you can speak to. Like women can go to Aware, or you can go straight to the police, right? Because I'm sure they will intervene if it gets too serious and all before anything
Yes.
very serious happen. Lah. Yeah. So
Yes. I think the,
yeah.
the first if it's really very threatening, just call the police straight away.
And I
Don't
think
even
that
hesitate.
the psychological abuse come before the physical abuse. Normally they bam bam bam.
Mm.
Then they and then after that, then when the bam don't work already, then bam. So before the
Mm.
red flag, you know, um, uh, gets out of hand or blow out of proportion, do something about it.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So thank
Yes.
you guys. Anything else you want to add, Grace? Thank you for staying with us. Thank you, Shane.
No, I think
That's so nice of you to
with
stay all
that,
the
I
way.
think we will end tonight's session, and then we'll see you next Friday.
See you next Friday. I will talk about the case in the headline. We are trying to shuffle some cases because we got a few guest hosts that would like to join us. For our show and all. So I'm trying to adjust to their timing. I'm reshuffling our headlines and all the lineup lah. Yeah. So let you all know again. So stay tuned and you know wait for more. Wow. Wow. Sorry. At the same. Hello.
Yeah, continue.
I cannot hear. Hello. Yeah. So at that, I think we need to go. So at that, thank you for joining us on Friday Night Live, True Crime Coffee Talk. We really appreciate your presence and spending some time with us today. All right, my name is Serene.
And I'm Grace, and I'll see you next Friday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.